Hey guys, Jeff here, and I just wanted to share my Rubik's Cube collection with you, especially since way back in lockpicking video number 30, I talked a little bit about my Rubik's Cubes. At that point, I just basically had this one, which is the one I practice on regularly, and this guy, a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother. Stickers look nicer. But since then, I have been clearly expanding my collection. It does help. I'm a math teacher. I like to keep these out for the kids to see, for the kids to play with, and so that's helped me have a reason to build my collection. My wife, when I first started getting more, I should say, I had this little novelty one. I don't know about you guys, but I found these novelty ones pop apart. This one, I don't know if it's coming through on the camera there, but I've actually taped it together now. No one's allowed to shuffle anymore because it just pops apart, but it's still fun to have. So the next ones I added to my collection would be this little cylinder from, I think we got it from the Dollar Tree. It's kind of fun because there's a bunch of ways you can't actually mess it up even when you're trying to shuffle, but still it's fun to, especially for kids, just to mess with during lessons. And then my wife got me the Void Cube. I hadn't seen this one. I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I know that with the mechanism being different, it's noisy, it's rough. It also was my first cube that I got where there's cases of parity of things that you can't run into in a normal 3x3. Another one she bought for me, I consider this the most evil cube, is my Sudoku Cube. Now, I had this one at school, and this was the one that I told students they could never shuffle. But wouldn't you know it, the first week of school, I got COVID, and some wise guy decided to shuffle it. I threw this thing in a drawer for months. I've tried to pretend it didn't exist. Finally, after 3 or 4 months of that, I sat down, I carefully tried and experimented, and I got it mostly solved. I say mostly because I shared this with a few other cubers, and they pointed out, Jeff, it's turned wrong. I've got several that are turned wrong. And yes, I know, I haven't done the algorithms to twist the centers because I'm afraid of screwing this up. This right here is the cube that scares me the most. Now, following that one, my wife got me the 4-pack of stickerless, so I could have my very own 2x2, another 3x3, but also 4x4 and 5x5. These were kind of fun. I know it took a few extra algorithms, but one of the things that I love about these cubes is that even though they're all rather different, the basics of the 3x3 have carried me through all the rest of these. Again, except for some parities that you can get, especially in the 4x4. I will say that after the Sudoku Cube, the 4x4 is my second least favorite just because of how many parities there are. I am still struggling, still trying to learn all of the parity cases and how to fix them, hoping to get there. After that, she got me the Pyraminx and the Gigaminx. Now, the Gigaminx took me a while in order to figure out its secrets. And by its secrets, I mean, what is it about it that makes it a 3x3? And I found several different instructionals on the Gigaminx that had all sorts of algorithms, and I was just frustrated with all the algorithms to memorize until I recognized how I could do it, not just like a 3x3, but like the beginner's method of the 3x3. Because I will say, I've tried to learn CFOP. I can do the C and the F a little bit. I still struggle to do the O and the P without having all the algorithms in front of me. But the beginner's method of the 3x3 is still my go-to for this. I'm going to go on with newer ones, but I almost forgot that I do have one other special one. Those of you who are serious into cubes might realize there's something funky going on here, because in all of our modern cubes, yellow is not beside white. This cube right here was actually my grandpa's. I didn't know until after he passed that he had a Rubik's Cube. And so this is kind of a prized possession for that silly reason. I will say it is rather rough compared to some of the others, but it was his. It's been about 1.5 years now or so since he passed, and it just kind of makes me both a little sad and a little happy to think of him working on the Rubik's Cube, because I know that his love of puzzles is part of what got me into stuff like this. Another fun one for me is I won the OS Cube from Lockpicking Cuber, and just trying to make sense out of this guy. It's a 2x2, but just such a weird 2x2 with the way that the pieces stick out. This one is a fun one, especially for my students, although you'll notice that it's very loud. They're not allowed to do this one when I'm trying to teach, because they know that I don't want to compete with the sound. But I've got a few students who this is actually their favorite cube. I can solve it. It still feels a little bit like a surprise when I solve it, but I can solve it. And then the reason I decided to do this video is for Christmas, I had some new ones added. I got the Ivy Cube stickerless from my mother-in-law for Christmas. And not thinking carefully about my list, I actually got, is it the Ivy Ball? The exact same design, but just with all of the corners cut off to make it into the sphere shape. Now these are fun, especially this one. As any of you who have seen my lockpicking videos, you know that my oldest daughter, Thing One, has shared a lot of my hobbies with me. So she has actually been trying to learn the beginner's method of the 3x3, and she can do the first layer more or less by herself. But what was really fun was, without giving her any instructions, I shuffled up the Ivy Cube and I let her try, and at 7 years old she solved the Ivy Cube by herself. Anyways, this video is getting long, but this is my current collection of Rubik's Cubes, twisty puzzles, what have you. I'm curious, for those of you into cubing, what would you suggest I add next? I've played with a lot of other cubes as students bring them in, so I've solved a mirror cube, 2x2, 3x3. I've done the ghost cube, axis cube, windmill cube, Fisher cube, impossible cube was a lot of fun, and I think I'd like that to be my next addition. But what is your favorite from your collection? Again, Gigaminx, that's my favorite. Unlike these two, which cause me the most frustration. But let me know your favorite in the comments below. Let me know what you think I should add next, and I'll talk to y'all later.